Welcome back. I'm back. Thank you so much for being patient. So we're not even gonna do the extra. We're just gonna get into it. Scary TikTok story times. Let's get it.
If you're wondering why a 24-year-old has a nightlight, you would too if you had a Robert. One of the scariest, most tormented things that happened to me was getting sleep paralysis for 1 month straight. I'm not even shitting you. I got it for the whole month of February. But I'm gonna tell you about night 28 because that sends chills all the way down to my marrow. I've had sleep paralysis all my life, but it's the same figure. So much so that it has a name. It's named Robert. I don't know how to explain that it feels like it's male. I just know that I don't feel safe around it. Robert never moves. He just stands in the corner of my room where the hinges of my door is and just watches me. I don't know, but he just stands there. On night 28, Robert moved, and he moved to the side of my bed and hovered over me like this, but he moved statically. So the best I can describe it is, stop motion film, how their movements aren't fluid. He just buffered closer and closer to the edge of my bed. And then I heard Robert's voice for the first time, and I've watched enough horror movies to know that Robert was speaking demon. It wasn't gibberish because there was too much pronunciation, so I would say like a long lost language sounds more suitable. But the point is I understood it, and I'm bilingual, but in English and Korean, not Robert's tongue. And Robert was saying, "I'm your father, we need to go. I'm your father, we need to go. I'm your father." Just repeating that. The more Robert repeated it, the more it started sounding like my dad's voice. And then at that point, I started praying to every god, hoping that one was still clocked in. But I don't think Robert liked that very much. I think it triggered him because he got physical with me. He grabbed my arm and laid on top of me and was screaming at this point. Okay, this part I really don't know how to explain it except to say, like, while Robert was obstructing my airway on top of me, he was also crawling all over my walls. It sounds crazy, but you just had to be there. And then his zoomies came to an end, but he stopped right above my head. So imagine me laying down and Robert right above my head, but his body is on the wall. Let me fucked up. And then he screamed, "You're coming with me." But as soon as he said that, I woke up to my dad violently shaking me. But I was a little sus because Robert was saying that he wasn't my dad or whatnot. And so I was looking at my dad like, "Who are you? What are you?" But then my dad did something that he never has done before and called me by my middle name, Jen. And I was like, "That's weird, but it must be you." And then he proceeded to tell me that he had a nightmare in which something was trying to take me away from him. He was holding me like this, on for dear life, but something was like trying to yeet me away. He came into my room to check up on me, and apparently I had my eyes closed, but I was crying so much that the sides of my pillows were wet, and I was mumbling "appa, appa, appa," which is dad in Korean. Next day, my dad and we did a little recap, but tell me why he described Robert to a T. And I've never described Robert to my dad. Anyways, my dad rearranged my whole room. He told my mom, and she came in and prayed for an awfully long time. We got a Bible to put on my nightstand, and we also got a nightlight. Robert still visits me, but he resides in that corner of my room where he just kind of stands and stares. It's very perverted of him.
Nope. How you and your dad see the same thing, have the same dream, have the same, like it was all the same. Like your dad was like, he a real one. He came to find you, came to save you, came to check up on you to make sure you good. The fact that he called you by your middle name, a little weird. My mom was doing some weird stuff yesterday. Made me talk about, I'm gonna make you a turkey sub. I don't like turkey. I had to make sure it was her. I was like, "Mom, what's the safe word? What's the safe word? Cause you ain't my mama, bro. You doing some weird stuff. You forget about me." It was like it happened like 3 times. I was just like, "Who are you?" But no, I feel you. I'm glad that they took it seriously. I mean, like he had no choice but to take it seriously because your dreams aligned and it was serious. And y'all saw the same person. Your mom came, prayed, got a Bible by your nightstand, which I do. Here it is, right here. Bible by my nightstand. I got this Bible a long time ago. My grandmama gave it to me. Y'all know my grandmama is a minister, honey, a pastor, honey. So yeah, prayed up, stay prayed up. Cause that was wild. That like I need y'all to do a cleanse, honey. Where the priest at? Because he got too close. He shouldn't even be there, honey. Like I guess like, you know, at least it was the shortest month of the year, but that don't even matter. Like, you shouldn't be visiting me at all, at all.
Okay, I'm going to try to do my best to talk about this quickly and also without getting too much of an adrenaline dump and shaking, because it's still to this day when I remember the story freaks me the hell out. I grew up in a very haunted house in Colorado. We found out it wasn't the house over time, it was the land. We actually did have a medium come and cleanse the house after my mom's first bout of cancer. Tons of stuff happened. I could literally tell story after story after story. We lived there for 30 years. It was bad enough that my dad actually did ask the realtor when he sold the house if he had to disclose to the new occupants that it was haunted. We found out over time, talking to other neighbors, they all had the same issues. It was the land this subdivision was built on. So the scariest thing, it was actually like a succession of things, but when we first moved in there, it was a 3-story walkout basement house built on a hillside. And I had the basement room as the oldest kid. And there was one night where I woke up, it sounded like people were banging on the doors. There was 2 entrances to my room. It sounded like they were running back and forth and trying to get in. I actually heard things in the playroom down there, like tumbling out of the cabinets and going all over the place. And when I finally worked up the courage, I turned on all the lights in my room, and one of the doors was a quick right and then left up the stairs to get up to the main level, turn around, and then go up again up to where my parents were sleeping. I was 12 or 13 at the time when this happened. I think it was about 13. So I hear all this happening. I suck up my strength to like go run. And as I start to open the door, somebody, wham, like hits the door, which made me fly back to my bed, pull up the covers. I didn't have a phone down there. Again, this is long before cell phones. So I had no phone, no way to call 911 or say somebody's broken into the house, nothing. So instead I took my boombox stereo and I turned the music up full volume. I was 2 floors below my parents' bedroom, and I thought, surely if I turn the music up all the way, they'll know something is wrong. It's about 3 a.m. My dad did wake up, felt like something was wrong, came downstairs, saw that all my lights were on and that my music was blaring, and couldn't wake me up. The playroom, not destroyed. There was nobody down there. Nobody had broken in. Everything was sealed shut. He was so freaked out, he moved me immediately the next day up to my youngest brother's room, had him stay with my other brother while they moved my bedroom upstairs, because my dad was like, I only woke up thinking something was wrong. He didn't hear the music until he opened the basement door, and he was like, if somebody actually broke in, we wouldn't hear what was going on. So I told you that's ready to tell you this story. So they moved me up. It's maybe 2 nights later. I am sleeping on my brother's bed, looking down. He was at the end of the hallway from the top stairs on the 3rd floor. And it was a direct line of sight to my parents' bedroom. And I was so freaked out about what had happened. I was sleeping with the door open so I could see to their bedroom and feel like, I was kind of safe enough to get to them if I needed them. I woke up in the middle of the night to a slamming sound coming from the basement. And it sounded like doors were slamming somewhere in the house. Then I heard what sounded like running heavy footsteps up the basement stairs. It sounded like the basement door was kicked open and that someone had run around on the hardwood floors to the base of the other stairs and had run up those stairs and then stopped. Now, I was not staring down the hallway when I heard this. I was kind of like looking around, and then I looked at the base of the stairs, and I'm going to show you what I saw. Okay, so imagine that this is the top flight of the stair. So there's a whole wall coming this way and the railing for the stairs. I literally saw something like coming up this way with its hands, and it was like a black shape just looking at me down the hallway like this through the bars. I took in a big, deep breath, and I think I called for my mom, and this thing shot off like a light up the stairs. So it takes off up the stairs and like on all fours starts zooming this dark shadow thing towards my brother's door. And the door I could almost touch from the bed. So I just shot out of bed and slammed the door shut. And I screamed bloody murder. I woke up the whole house. Nothing hit the door. Nothing else happened. But of course my dad took off out of bed and ran towards my brother's room. I was like, what the hell is going on? None of the doors were open. The basement door was locked. No one had broken in. And I, after that point, until we got me moved into my other room, slept with that door shut. There are so many things that happened in that house. Like, I, for a long time, could not sleep with a mirror in the same room as me because of things I saw. There was an entity that several people saw that my family didn't talk about for a very long time until we kind of, once we had the medium in, people kind of figured out something weird was going on with our house. But I have tons of stories. And I actually, if that story sounds familiar, I shared it on last podcast on the left several years ago. And I remember seeing a bunch of comments of people saying, like, there's no way that's true. People lie about this stuff all the time. I am telling you, on my life, my child's life, my family's lives, this shit happened. And it happened so often. Like, my mom would leave the house and call somebody from the front porch and say, I'm scared to be here alone. Everybody had something happen. Everybody. Like, it just was, it was a very active house. I could tell stories for hours.
Nope. You don't even hear about that. You don't see that on the movies where the whole community is haunted. The whole community, like that whole acres of land is haunted. Like, you don't hear that often. So the fact that her neighbors were experiencing it too, along with her family, no, I understand being the only child, the oldest child, and want to have the nicest, biggest room of the kids. Like, get that. You want the most space. Got it. But honey, the fact that, like, your dad did not hear, he just woke up, like something woke him up. That was God. And he didn't hear that you was blasting. I think it said, I was reading it and trying to pay attention, that he was saying that you weren't awake. Like, he couldn't get you awake. Like, you were asleep. You wasn't awake when the music was blasting. It could have been like a misunderstanding on my part. But I think that's what it said. And it's just like really weird because, like, how would the music be on? Like, if you were asleep, well, maybe you were sleepwalking, you turn the music blasting, because I've done that before. Sleepwalking, and what I'm doing in my dream, I'm doing in real life. Did that before. So yeah, maybe that was it. And the fact he could not hear you with the blasting noise, like, you was that for, well, I guess it was 2 floors difference, but he was good. He was on it. Like, he a real one. Was like, oh no, let's be proactive. Let's move you up because I can't hear you. I can't get to you. Like, I don't know if something's going down. I need to be aware of what's going on. So yeah, moved you. Yes. The fact that you heard stuff and then you saw something, friend, girl, you see something crawling up the stairs and then turn and look at you. I would myself. I would have freaked out. She was acting fast. Like, oh no, she woke up everybody in the house, and I'm on her with that because everyone would have been up. All the lights would have been on. I would have slept in my parents' room for the rest of the remaining time of my life that I was living in the house. Like, nope, I'm done. The fact that everyone experienced it and y'all still, I want to know how long y'all stayed up in that house, because even mom was scared. Dad was like, I don't trust this. I felt the energy and I was just like, something's wrong. Nope, stop. So yeah, Fred, I'm glad y'all are out of that house. And the crazy, it was that haunted that your dad was just like, oh, maybe I should warn the others. Like, let's warn the new people that coming in. Like, that's a good one. He was like, nah, I need to let them know what they getting themselves into. But yeah, friend, no, glad you're safe. Y'all should have cleansed that. You had a medium.
My parents owned the same house before I was born and when I finally sold it after they had died when I was 42 years old. This house, my whole life, horrible, creepy vibes, right? Like, wanted no part of ever being there alone. But when I was about 12 years old, the house burnt down, right? And back in the day, when like your house burnt down, you did insurance stuff, like the homeowner actually had to go in and actually document everything that was lost. I mean, I'm talking down to the fucking toothpick. Like, my mom spent 3 months in our house, like, trying to get every single penny for every single thing that we lost in the house fire. So while she was doing this, my mom, because it was back in the day, had one of those disposable cameras, right? She was taking pictures as she was walking around the house, figuring out like what had been ruined. Just, she wanted them for insurance, whatever. So The house has actually been rebuilt at this point, and we're back living in it. And my mom finally goes back to, I think it was like, dude, I think it was like the fucking Pay and Save or something. That's how long it's been. But you would turn the disposable camera in, and then it would take like a week, and the pictures would come back to you. And I remember my mom got those pictures back, and she was standing in our kitchen, and all of a sudden my mom just dropped all the pictures that were in her hand, and she just stood there silent, like she'd seen a ghost, like something was severely wrong. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, because I'm probably like 14 years old at this time. And she's like, I want you to pick up the pictures and go through all of them and tell me what you see that doesn't seem right. And I remember picking up the pictures and looking through them. And the picture where I finally saw it, it was probably 5 pictures deep. And I remember looking at the picture too, because it was like clearly evident in the picture. So we had a family room that was like offset from the kitchen. It was down 3 steps. And she must have been down there taking pictures, because that's where the worst of the fire damage was at, because that's where it started at. And in this picture, on those 3 steps, were 3 tiny people. Like, I'm going to say like porcelain doll people. That's what they reminded me of. Sitting, staring back at the camera. And like, it was evident. There was no argument of that was what was there in that picture. Years went by, and we would show these pictures to people, and everyone who always saw them were horrified. I kid you not, like probably 10 years before my mom passed away, those pictures went missing, and they've never been found again. But I will say this. I was 14 when I saw that picture, and that house continued to creep me out for the rest of my life. I went on, had kids. Like I said, my parents never sold that house until I sold that house. But there was a night I was sleeping. Okay, so like I was always uncomfortable with my kids sleeping anywhere in the house other than the room that I was in when we would go and visit. And there was a night that me and my daughter and my son, for some reason, we were sleeping in the front room. I don't know if we'd watched a movie and that's all we all fell asleep on the floor out there or whatever. But my son was on the couch, and me and my daughter were both laying on the floor, and she was in between the couch and me. I heard it, but it also woke her up. And I kid you not, that night in that house, something said her name. And she was only like, I'd say 6 or 7 years old at that time. She remembers it to this day, and she's 22 years old now. So, yeah, like, I don't know if that's a ghost story or just fucking a demon story. I don't know, but yeah, horrifying.
That is horrifying. I think I've heard that story before, but still scary. Still scary, honey. Still. Y'all see that wood burning stove in the background that she had? Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. I peeped that. So yeah, Fred, the little people. The other day, I feel like I saw something that told what those little people are, like what it is. I cannot remember right now. But somebody had a video on TikTok of seeing little people in a tree. It was like in this tree. He was like, look, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all see this. Like, I'm gonna prove to you that this is not edited. This is real. Like, he did everything he could to prove that, yo, this is real life. These are little people. Like, I don't know what it is. If you know what those little people are, comment below. Because I can't remember exactly what it was saying. But no, friend, that was scary. And those pictures disappeared. Yeah, they took them. They took them because they was like, oh, they got proof. They've been showing people, like, no, nobody can find out about us. So yeah, they took those pictures, and you probably will never get them back again, because they probably destroyed them. And they might have just started that fire. It might have been an accident. They showed themselves to be like, yo, we're sorry, it was our bad. But yeah, you can't know about us. You can't tell nobody. Like, yeah, I don't know about that, friend. And whoever was calling your child, nope. I hope y'all talked about that. I hope you say, hey, don't answer. Don't answer. Start praying, because we don't know who that is. Only person who should be calling your name, that is your family and God. Like, what are we doing? Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that, honey. So yeah, don't forget to follow these creators and stick around. Tune in every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for new videos, and subscribe.